Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infrastructure Group conversation. I am Amy Phillips. I am the Engineering Manager for Delivery, and I'll be hosting today. We're joined by quite a few of the other department members, so we're looking forward to answering your questions. If you do have one, please go ahead and pop it in the agenda, and we will come around to it. So, Maren, you have the first question.
Thanks, Amy. I was looking at this incident issue write-up, which, by the way, was great. And I was wondering if we had any availability impact as an outcome of this GKE SSD availability issue. And then another question was, are we taking any additional corrective actions from what was listed in the incident issue? Maybe some background for everyone else who's on the call would be also useful.
Yes, who would like to take that? Skarbek, can I hand to you?
I could provide a little bit of additional color on this issue. As far as answering whether or not it impacted our metrics, I would lean on someone else, and the corrective actions I could also tackle. But just as a quick overview, Google ran out of SSDs in one of their regions that impacted the ability for us to spin up nodes that have SSD-backed storage. So in our particular case, this greatly impacted our CI runners as well as our Kubernetes infrastructure. So in our case, we just switched everything over to using the standard spinny disk instead. For corrective actions, Andrew made a few changes to our metrics so we could start gathering some data. And one of the corrective actions was also to switch to spinny disks. At this moment in time, I don't believe we have any further corrective actions that we could pursue. This was something that was caused by a situation in Google's data centers, not something that we kind of could have handled. I think anything we could have done to detect it earlier would be a good corrective action, but I'm not really sure what that would be at this moment in time. One of the proposals by Brent was to see if we couldn't figure out a way to maybe reserve SSD capacity, but I don't think that's possible given the current feature set of Google's cloud situation. And Maren, your final question of whether it impacted our availability, I suspect not, because if we look at the chart for the API service, which was the first sign that we saw problems, at least from my viewpoint, we never exceeded our SLO thresholds. And I don't think we set off an alert. We just started seeing a lot of saturation. But I would lean on someone else to provide the final answer for that.
Yeah, I was just quickly scrambling to put some data together, and over the course of those 2 days, we used 20% of our monthly error budget, which is kind of okay as long as we don't use it the rest of the month. But actually, you pointed out that it was only going to affect the API server, and there was, if you look at that graph that I included a link there, there's only a brief blip at one point for the API service. So I don't think it had a big impact on our overall SLIs.
I would just like to call out, though, that one of the disadvantages of it, one of the metrics that will be affected is MTTP, because during this time we couldn't deploy anything because we couldn't scale up the additional nodes needed. So that is one metric that will that has this visible as an impact.
Thanks. And did we see anything performance related when we switched to spinning disks?
We did a very short analysis on this, and we did see our deployment times creep up, but we haven't, but not by a large amount. So still within reason, and Kubernetes is still one of our fastest deployment mechanisms compared to some of our virtual machines. So we're going to leave it as is. But we haven't seen or heard anyone complain about our use of spinning disk impacting us negatively. So we're just going to leave it that way for the time being.
Excellent. So I'm assuming Davis is going to be happy with the change in dollar amounts at the end of the month. Fingers crossed. Cool. Thanks a bunch for the answers.
Thanks for asking. Victor, you have the next question.
And I'll pick it up since I answered, because Victor's not on the call. I don't think. Yeah, so the question is like, how is the overall availability calculated from the primary services? And so I went ahead and I linked the handbook that details the handbook page, which details the calculations, but then just listed the summary here of the weights. And maybe, is that you, Andrew, typing something?
Yeah, I was going to just kind of say what you said there anyway, so I don't have anything to add.
Well, thanks for that. And Victor has the next question as well, so I'll verbalize this one. So this one is around a request to please update Kevin and Victor about the outcome of the sequence rotation efficiency key result, if we get there. This could be extremely valuable for our longer term sequence management strategy and might help us build a solution that serves our needs too. Brent, over to you.
Yeah, and this is indeed one that would benefit from discussion here. So I do have a regular, so I noted here like where the project is at, not in an ideal state, and then that I would ensure that Victor and Kevin are kept up to date. And I do maintain a regular recurring sync with Kevin, so I'll make sure that this is a recurring topic.
Excellent, thank you. And does anybody else have any questions that they would like to verbalize?
All right, well, if that's the end, I can stop the stream.